Talk to him.
Classic codes, I ain't taking it slow. Forgive me, Lord, I woke up in that mode. Whether the winters were left in the cold.
Yes, Lord. So the code language conversation for the day, we talking about luxury. We're going to unpack this in a lot of different ways, but like we always do on the code language, we always want to start off with, like we always do on the code language, we always want to start off with the book definition of the word so we can really unpack it, right? So we're talking about luxury today. So by definition, the word luxury means the state of great comfort and extravagant living. The state of great comfort and extravagant living. He lived a life of luxury, similar, opulence, luxuriousness, richness, costliness. So those are some synonyms for luxury. Adjective, luxurious or of the nature of a luxury. The state of great comfort and extravagant living. So that's what the definition of luxury truly is. Shout out to everybody filing in the chat 333 if you with me, man. Shout out to y'all tapping in on a Sunday afternoon. You know what I mean? You know, we going live, we walking everybody down. I told y'all, the hardest working man in YouTube, y'all have found them. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and turn on the notifications. We turning up. We coming every single day. Wait till we get over into the sports take before the game tonight. I'm gonna help y'all with them parlays. We're gonna get some money in a few minutes, but right now we talking luxury. Info purposes only. 333. Ooh, I love it. What's going on? Right in time for your favorite part of my channel, the code language. So talking about luxury today, by definition, and that's why we always start with the definition, because sometimes when we unpack the code languages, we actually learn in real time that society commonly uses the words out of context. So with luxury meaning the state of great comfort and extravagant living, it actually means that you can experience luxury for free if we just break it down by definition. However, when we look at luxury from a societal standpoint, it actually involves spending, and spending for some frivolously, and spending for some, you know, extensively, but not necessarily frivolously, because they may be of a certain level of means. But luxury now has actually been broken down to marketing, right? Because there are certain realities that we can choose to embrace, but we're programmed not to. So when it comes to luxury, we have luxury brands, and I won't name them because I don't want to single them out, and I'm not big on messing up anybody's money. But we have luxury brands where you can go into their store and buy a plain white t-shirt for $100 or $200, and literally it's just a plain white t-shirt. A lot of the most expensive stuff in the luxury stores don't have the print all over it. You know what I mean? So for people who actually have shopped luxury and done some, you know, own some luxury, there's nothing wrong with having the items with the print all over it, but those normally aren't the most expensive items in the store. You know what I mean? And so when we break it down and we look at what we call luxury, we most oftentimes associate it with names and branding. That's not what luxury is by definition, though. Luxury by definition is the state of great comfort and extravagant living. And so if spending $3,000 or $300 on a plain white t-shirt somehow makes you experience great comfort and extravagant living, then maybe that t-shirt is luxury, right? We've taken the term and put it on items. We have a comment, info purposes only says, once I created a luxury mindset, it started to appear in my reality. I had to get rid of all of the dusty bum ass project hood rat limited beliefs of out of my mindset. When you say that it started to appear in your reality, are you referring to being able to acquire said brands, or are you talking about being able to live based on the definition? I just want to understand what you so I make sure I get everything you're saying right. But I definitely feel you on that. You definitely can't have a limited belief system. But in this breakdown of luxury, I kind of just want to unpack the concept of what luxury actually is versus like what we call it, right? So sometimes people feel like they've reached the top of the mountain because they've reached financial freedom. For a lot of people, I think that's the goal, and that's a reasonable goal, to have financial freedom to where you can make such purchases and it doesn't hurt you. You don't have to bat an eye. However, like my grandfather once told me, I'll give y'all a little story time. My grandfather was very, very well off. The first time I ever left the country was because my grandfather actually paid for my entire family to leave to go on a cruise, and he covered the whole family literally. So him, my grandmother, all four of his kids, so my father, his three sisters, a cousin of theirs, so his niece, her husband, so my dad, my mom, me, my brother, one of my aunts, her husband, their two kids, another aunt, her daughter, my other aunt, her husband at the time. They didn't have kids yet. It was probably like a good almost 20 of us. He paid for everybody. That's how he was really having it, right? Like he had a lot of money. And I remember he had bought a Cadillac cash off the lot, cash, literally physical cash, like duffel bag, like a drug dealer. But really all his money was legitimate. He just owned a lot of buildings. He had a lot of real estate. So my grandfather bought a Cadillac cash. And at this time, I was just making like 19. And I had just bought a brand new Chevy. I had bought a brand new Impala. It was the newest Impala at the time. So it was a thought, what up, 333? What up, bro? And we talking luxury, code language. And I had just bought a brand new Impala. And when my grandpa, I had went to go visit my grandpa. He still stayed in the hood. So I had drove out there to go cut his hair. I used to be my grandfather's barber. So I drove out to the hood to go cut my granddaddy hair where I used to live at. And I pulled up and I'm cutting his hair. I'm like, Grandpa, when you gonna let me take the Cadillac? You know, the brand new Cadillac. When you gonna let me take that? And he said, what's wrong with your car? I said, ain't nothing wrong with my car. It's brand new. He said, yeah, mine too. I said, yeah, let's trade. He said, what you want to do that for? I said, I want to drive the Cadillac. He said, why? I said, I never drove a Cadillac. He was like, why is it different from your car? And I was like, my car is Chevy. And he was like, do you press the gas and it go? I was like, yeah. He was like, all right, so how is it different from my Cadillac? One say Cadillac, one say Chevy. When you leave to get where you going, do you get there? I was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, me too. He's like, so what you want to take my car for? And I was just like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, he broke it down to me like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I was attached to the name, the marketing, the branding, right? And in actuality, we both had brand new vehicles. We both had cars that was the next year of the year it was in at that time. You know what I'm saying? And we both was riding clean. There was no reason for me to exalt his Cadillac over my Chevy. And he just had to give me perspective, like a grandfather would. You know what I mean? And it also this concept also makes me think back to when the Payless shoe store set up in Hollywood, and they put that fake brand name on their store, and they sold all the same merchandise and raised the price to make it luxury pricing. And people was talking about how they would pay, you know, $300 for these shoes and $400 for these shoes and $500 for these shoes, and those shoes currently retail at $20, $30. $32, $50. You know what I'm saying? It's a mental concept. And it actually, and then that discussing that takes me back to the definition, the state of great comfort and extravagant living. So luxury is more of a mindset than it is a product, an item, a brand, a stitch, a fabric. So you can experience luxury based on whatever your current set of desires are. A Benz is no more luxury than a Honda unless you feel that way. You know, me personally, I find luxury in my peace. That's a luxurious life when I can live in peace. That's luxurious to me. It's a lot of people that live in survival mode. There's a lot of people that live in stress, depression, anxiety. There's a lot of people that live with a lot of different challenges that keep them from being able to be at ease. So being able to walk around freely, take a deep breath, be yourself confidently, move into any room, speak with your head up, have your chest out, not really need anybody for anything. That's a luxury. That's luxurious. You got millionaires that don't have that luxury. You got millionaires that are in debt. They just make a lot, but they spend more than they make. They millionaires and broke. Two things could be true. You got middle class people who are super good with their money, so they live comfortably, but they don't. Do they have all the assets of a millionaire? No. Do their clothes and their bags have the same print and the same tags? No. But who lives more comfortable? Who has real values? Who's seeking happiness through things, merchandise, items, stuff? I take it to we got a comment. Souls of Thought says, funny because now we pay hundreds for items that was once in Walmart. For example, Le Tigre. I'm not familiar with that brand. Le Tigre. So it's now upscale and it used to be cheap. Yeah, even Champion raised their prices. Even Champion starting to tax now. And it's like Champion used to be the shit you get for the low. Champion used to be in famous footwear, you know? So again, it's marketing and it's just manipulation. And the actual definition of luxury has nothing to do with merchandise. We slap the term onto merchandise to make it feel a certain way, and hence the fact it makes us feel a certain way to acquire it. So we just, I make sure that we all just have the ability to stay one step ahead of the matrix, because it's all mental manipulation. Some of the most beautiful women I ever bagged, I had on a plain t-shirt from Champ Sports. It didn't say nobody on it. It didn't say nothing. It's just plain. It was a rival to Lacoste. Oh, okay. Yeah, I never heard of their brand. But yeah, so I think if we reframe the concept of luxury, I think a lot more people could be happy where they're at. And if you're happy where you at, you got a better chance of getting where you're trying to go. If you're stressed about where you at and all you can think about is the happiness that you're going to achieve when you get to the future that you want, not living in your now is never going to serve you. Not living in your now is never going to serve you. So, but that's my take on luxury, man. Y'all let me know if y'all agree or disagree, or y'all got different perspectives. Please chime in. Let me know. We always want to have these conversations so we could crack these codes. But, we are in a capitalist society. So saying certain things, by and large, isn't necessarily cool. Like, I don't care about brands or any of that stuff. I don't care about any of that stuff. But I also understand why people do it. There's certain things about buying certain items because of the sociology and the setup in our society, because of the way things are set up and the social constructs. Being able to acquire certain things and wear them or drive them, they're social and they're status symbols. So it does benefit you in certain business spaces, or if you're a high-end real estate agent, it does benefit you to pull up to sell a $15 million home in a Maybach, your Maybach, or your Lamborghini. It does benefit you to pull up, if that's a part of your business, because at that point, it's not about luxury or the dopamine hit that you get from acquiring the Lamborghini. It's an investment, right? And okay, this is a symbol that this ain't the first $14 million house that I'm selling. Y'all got the right person for the job. You feel me? Vroom, you pull up lime green Lambo. You step out, red bottom. So they knowing, you know what I'm saying? Subtle things though. You ain't gotta have G, because then you're gonna look like you just got a little bit of money. You're gonna look like you just touched some change. Ash, what's going on? We got some comments. Ash said, hello, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you. Souls of Thoughts. This is actually why some black men, not all, LOL, date outside their race. Other cultures are more simple and easier to live a comfortable life. Okay. Info purposes only. I think it all falls into your belief system, everything. There's nothing wrong with acquiring name brand things as long as the name brand doesn't define you. But on the same token, I remember when, is there more? That's all I got. She must be typing more. So as a thought, let's unpack yours first. You said this is actually why some black men, not all, date outside their race. Other cultures are more simple and easier to live a comfortable life. Okay, so I can't disagree with you. It's one of them things I just had to reset myself because it's kind of uncomfortable. It's an uncomfortable truth. I can kind of feel it. You know what I mean? Because I want, as bad as I would want to debate for us and say, oh, well, other races, this, that, and the third, the proof is in the numbers. Black folks in America got the most spending power. We spend the most. So with that being said, you can make an easy case that this is correct because you're simply stating that by and large, marketing disproportionately impacts us. So I can't even disagree with you, bro. Well stated and everything. I mean, yeah, I digested it. You all the way on point. Info Purposes finished her statement. Let's go from the top. I think it all falls into your belief system, everything. There's nothing wrong with acquiring name brand things as long as the name brand doesn't define you. But on the same token, I remember when I used to live in a certain side of town and my stuff always got broken. But when I move issues, sometimes I would leave my door unlocked at night and be just fine. Feel that? Info Purposes only also says, moral of the story, I had to surround myself around like-minded individuals. Oh, for sure, 100%. 100%. And also, I don't believe there's anything with purchasing name brands. I got some Balenciagas in the closet. I got some Jordans in the closet. I got some, I have name brands and stuff. It just don't mean nothing to me. That's all I'm saying. Like, I buy stuff I like. I think that a lot of people who buy or even shop name brand, the fact that the majority and they got the analytics to back this, because we can see who purchases what. A lot of times, you buy high end. Info Purposes only, you buy high end. You got to register with a lot of them stores. They know who buying what. They got a little demographic, a little census, and they also know most Americans can't afford their shit. So, it's just one of those things where it's like if you got it, or if it's something you treating yourself to and it makes sense, then sure. But if you buying it out of insecurity, like you said, it shouldn't define you, right? If you buying it out of insecurity so that you can somehow try to gain some security, then you're already in the wrong bag. I'm with you on that. I'm with you. I know what you meant. She said I meant to say broken into. My car got broken into. Yeah, you can't have nice stuff in the hood. You got to go where other people got nice stuff. But even they get robbed. You know what I mean? So we all got to stay safe. For sure. I'm with you though. Souls of Thought said technically every brand is a name brand, just like now the black culture has made Walmart shoes. Hold on. Which one's Avia popular now? I don't know. See, that's the thing. I'm not tapped in, right? Like as far as, because I just buy what I like. And then a lot of times I'll be wearing like my homies merchandise. Like a lot of my homies got their own merchandise. So I'll wear my brother's merch. I wear my homie Six Society, my homie Ye. I wear his merch. My homie Fendi, he got his own brand. I wear his merch. Like a lot of times I'll be wearing my homie's clothes. Like even on here, when y'all see me in like the t-shirt with the bear on it, that's one of my homies' clothing lines. When y'all see me with that graphic black and white tee, that's one of my homies' clothing lines. I be buying clothes for my friends. I give a damn about D&G and G&G and LV, and I don't care. I really give a damn because I'm handsome. So it don't even matter at the end of the day. Rob, what up? Oh, it's a party on Sunday, huh? Y'all gonna keep? I see the Q&A gonna get busting. We moving into Q&A after this, huh? I see it's gonna be up there. Right. Rob said it's classic. Give no fuck about feelings, all facts. Yeah, you know how I get down. Look, yeah, you know me. He already know me. I ain't gonna worry about you. I'll worry about your feelings later. It's about my loyalty is to the truth. But I was gonna say I understand why some people go out their way to buy luxury and stuff, because sometimes you got to compensate. She said, I support with Robert. Yep. That's me all day. But yeah, sometimes you got to compensate. Like if I was 5'7", I would wear the Gucci shirt with the G's all over it. I get swole as hell, and I'll wear the Gucci shirt with the G's all over it with the matching shoes. I'm compensating. I gotta let her know somehow I'm having shit. I'm swole. You know what I'm saying? I'm better than these tall guys. If I had to compensate, I'd do that. But I'm 6'2", chocolate, long hair, bearded. They gave me the recipe. I ain't gonna lie to you. You can have all the Gucci you want. I will take your girl in a plain white tee. It's a bad business. God didn't make it fair. He said, Souls of Thought, Mayweather status. Yeah, when you short, you got to compensate. Pull up in a big car. Everything got to be big. Big car. You got big muscles. When you short, you got to do too much, for sure. So I get why some people play that game. But yeah, man, let's move off of that. The code language, luxury.
Classic codes, I ain't taking it slow. Forgive me, Lord, I woke up in that mode. Weathered the winters when left in the cold. Hardened my heart and now hardened the flow. They don't